2022 was a wild year for everybody. From celebrity deaths to natural disasters to scandals and controversies. In this video, we are going to be covering all the major events that happened in the year of 2022. We are going to be covering these events by each month. So anyways, let's get into it. One of the first events that happened in January was the riots and protests that happened in Kazakhstan. And there was also almost $200 million in property damage. 5,000 people were arrested and 225 people were killed. Another crazy thing that happened in January 2022 is that Australia legalizes assisted suicide. South Korean actor Oh Young-soo wins the Golden Globe Award. He is also the same actor that played in the TV series of Squid Game. The second last thing that happened in January 2022 was the Italian presidential election. Sergio Mattarella won the election with 759 votes and 75.22% of voters voted for him. And the last thing that happened in January 2022 is that Manchester United player Mason Greenwood got arrested for attempted rape and assault. In February 2022, the most well-known event happened. Could you guess what it is? If not, it's that Russia has invaded Ukraine. Every single media outlet has reported on this and it's gone viral. Funnily enough, 2 days before the invasion, United States President Joe Biden announced that he would be putting sanctions against Russia. Now, moving on to the topic of sports, famous NFL player Tom Brady announces that he will be soon retiring from the NFL. Also, the 2022 Winter Olympics begins and is held in Beijing, China. In the Winter Olympics, Norway got the most medals at 37, following Germany in 27, and then third place is China with 9. Last but not least, the Brit Awards took place and famous singer Adele wins Best Artist, Song and Album of the Year. In March 2022, Will Smith slaps Chris Rock at the Oscars.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow.
Then, a day after the incident, Will Smith decided to apologize to Chris Rock. US President Joe Biden decides to sign the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, which now means that lynching will be a crime. Moving on, the South Korean election took place. Yoon Suk-yeol won the elections by a small margin with 16,394,815 votes, and his competitor Lee Jae-myung got 16,147,738 votes. And the last major event to happen in this month is that former president of the Philippines, Rodrigo Duterte, raises the age of consent from 12 to 16. This is mainly because of child rights activists and protecting children from abuse. April 2022 was a month of unexpected events. One of the major events that happened in April 2022 was that the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial began. The next event in April was something that was slightly a little bit political, but anyways, let me explain what happened. So basically, Emmanuel Macron wins his second election against Marine Le Pen. Macron got 18,768,639 votes, while his competitor Marine Le Pen only got 13,288,686 votes. On to the next topic. Alex Jones's conspiracy theory website, aka Infowars, has filed for bankruptcy, mainly because he has to pay $1.5 billion for spreading lies about the 2012 Sandy Hook mass shooting. Now, moving on, Boris Johnson, who was also former Prime Minister of the UK, was involved in Partygate. Now, if you don't know what Partygate is, it's basically a scandal where the Conservative Party were throwing parties during lockdown. I forgot to tell you that he made an apology video about the whole scandal. And one of the last major events to happen in April 2022 was that the Sri Lanka economic crisis was starting to get worse and worse. Currency was devaluing, daily blackouts were common, basic commodities were super expensive. The list just goes on. One of the first things to happen in May 2022 was that Finland and Sweden applied to join NATO, mainly because they want protection from Russia after the recent war that just happened. Moving on, the Philippines election took place, and guess what happened? The Filipino population decided to elect the son of a dictator. Here are the election results. Now let's talk about something more that is related to sports. So what happened was that Real Madrid won the Manchester City won the Premier League title. And the last thing to happen in May 20, banning nearly all abortions. We are halfway through this video, and let's talk about a great event that happened this month, and that is Johnny Depp wins his defamation trial against Amber Heard. Originally, she had to pay $10 million for damages to his reputation, but now she only has to pay $1 million. Talking about football now, to qualify for the World Cup, beating Ukraine 1-0. FIFA also announced the hosts of the 2026 World Cup, and there are 3 countries that will be hosting the 2026 World Cup. These 3 countries are USA, Canada, and Mexico. 10 games will be held in Mexico, 10 games will be held in Canada, and 60 games will be held in the United States. Violent protests happened in India, mainly because of a military recruitment scheme. Trains and many types of other infrastructure was burned and destroyed. Moving on, basketball team Golden State Warriors wins the NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics. Former Prime Minister of Japan Shinzo Abe gets assassinated. Then former Prime Minister of the UK Boris Johnson decides to resign. The first space and astronomy related event happens in July 2022. The James Webb Telescope has officially revealed its first image. It is called the Deep Web image, and here's what it looks like. Moving on, Twitter decides to sue Elon Musk, mainly because they want to prevent his acquisition of Twitter. And one of the last things to happen in July 2022 was that Saudi Arabia decided to unveil plans for their futuristic city called The Line. This city will accommodate around 9 million people. However, if you want more insight, you can watch this video here. This one is gonna be a quick one, but anyway, let's just get into it. So, former Soviet Union leader Mikhail Gorbachev has unfortunately passed away. Next topic, Alex Jones has to pay $4.1 million in what they call compensatory damages. Moving on, the FBI conducts a search on Donald Trump's Florida house. And one of the last events to happen is that Joe Biden signs the Inflation Reduction Act into law. After Boris Johnson resigns, Liz Truss becomes the new Prime Minister of the UK. Next up, Joe Biden warns threats of democracy from MAGA Republican extremists.
Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
In September 2022, one of the most unexpected and unfortunate events happened. It's the fact that Queen Elizabeth II and PNB Rock passed away. Moving on, after many years, singer or artist R. Kelly finally gets convicted for sex trafficking. This topic is more sporty, but professional tennis player Roger Federer decides to retire from tennis. Elon Musk finally buys Twitter for $44 billion. One of the changes he made on Twitter is that now you have to pay $8 to have a blue tick on your profile. Another major change he made is that if you share another individual's location on Twitter, will be removed. Moving on, the UK economic crisis started to gain a lot of traction. There was a cost of living crisis, the pound started to lose value, the GDP decreased, and don't forget, debt went up. Another Alex Jones controversy happened, and this one is the Alex Jones Connecticut trial. Last time he had to pay $1.5 billion. Now he must pay another $473 million. Talking about something that is more sports related, French football player Karim Benzema wins the FIFA Ballon d'Or. Also, moving on to something more music related, I guess. Each single BTS member are now going to serve 18 months in the military. In November 2022, almost everybody's favorite event happens in this month. Can anyone guess what it is? Well, it's the fact that the 2022 FIFA World Cup begins and is held in Qatar. These are all the countries that qualified for the World Cup. Remember the voice actor that played Batman in all of the cartoon movies? His name is Kevin Conroy, and unfortunately he passed away. Our next topic is more related to finances, and what I'm talking about is the Sam Bankman-Fried FTX controversy. So basically, if you watch CoffeeZilla's videos on Sam Bankman-Fried, you will see that he is guilty of financial fraud and scamming. This next event will either make people excited or get people upset. It's the fact that Donald Trump announces that he is gonna run for president in 2024. Last but not least, the world population officially reaches 8 billion people. In the last month of 2022, a lot of major events happened in this month. The first major event that happened in this month is that Logan Paul got exposed for running a crypto scam. If you watch CoffeeZilla's 4-part video on Logan Paul, you will get more insight into the whole controversy. Logan Paul also made 2 responses to CoffeeZilla, one on his podcast and one on his own channel, but unfortunately he deleted the response on his own channel. On to the next topic. The FIFA World Cup ends in this month. Here is the bracket, and congratulations to Argentina for winning the World Cup. Now moving on, famous internet figure Andrew Tate gets arrested for so-called human trafficking and money laundering. But I call cap on this because he is still tweeting and still streaming on Rumble. Another tragic event happened in this month, and that is the fact that one of the best football players in the world, Pele, has unfortunately passed away. And then the last major event of the year was something that was just extremely crazy. I'm talking about Kanye West praising Hitler.
That's right. You're not Hitler. You're not a Nazi. You don't deserve to be called that and demonized.
Well, I see good things about Hitler also. The Jew, I love everyone. I'm done with the classifications. Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table, especially Hitler.
But anyways, that is all I have for you guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to like, subscribe with notifications on, and comment something positive. But anyways, see you in the next video.